On to learning targets under section 2.4. So we're going to evaluate the piecewise function. So in these cases, you need to understand that x equals 0, x equals 1, and x equals 4. So to evaluate these specific x values, I have to now look at my piecewise function and figure out what section or chunk of the graph can I actually plug these numbers into. So for 0, I'm going to look, 0 is a number that is between -2 and 1. So I'm going to plug this into my first equation. So this goes along with x plus 3, but I'm going to substitute in x. So 0 plus 3 equals 3. And that's my value. That's how I'm evaluating what's going on at f of 0. And then we're going to move on to f of 1. And here, the only equation I can plug into is x equals 1, because that is exactly 1. So I can't plug in anything, so my value is 5, because that's a horizontal line that we see. And then the last one, f of 4. 4 is greater than 1, so this is the equation that I'm using. So I have -x plus 2, but I'm going to substitute 4 in. So the negative stays in front. 4 plus 2 equals -2. Okay, then moving on, we're going to go down to the actual piecewise functions. Okay, so we want to graph the function and then determine domain and range. So we have two different examples here. So here, just graphing, I'm going to start with 3a. Here I have a horizontal line at 5. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Typically, I have a horizontal line all the way across. But I have to only graph where my x values are greater than 2. So here's 2. Here's on the x. So this is kind of like my little cut line. So I can only graph my horizontal greater than 2. So that's where, here's 5. And it's greater than or equal to, so I'm going to have a closed circle, and I'm going to go greater than 2. Even though it's typically the horizontal, only this section. And then for x minus 3, I have a positive line. I have to graph that only less than 2. So here's my 2. The graph can only happen over here. So I'm going to go down to -3 on the y-axis. And my slope is up 1 over 1. Up 1 over 1. It's less than, so I have an open circle. And then I'm going to go down to all of these points. Okay, so the domain and range now, left to right, I'm going from -infinity to +infinity. And then my range, remember, that's your y values. So that's where we're going to look at bottom to top. So bottom, this is going down forever. So I'm starting at -infinity. But then I'm stopping, my whole graph stops right here, which is at -1. And it's an open circle, so we're going to have parentheses. And I start right back up at 5, but it's that horizontal line. So let me erase that. That should be a bracket at 5. And that's it. Okay, and then we have our x and y intercepts. So x-intercept, where am I hitting the x-axis? Nothing is happening there, so my intercept would be none. But then my y-intercept, where's any of my graphs hitting the axis? Only right here. Only what you can actually see. So the point would be 0, -3. All right, moving on over here. Okay, kind of taking a look over here at our little cuts. I'm going to be between -2 and 2. I'm going to be greater than 2, and this graph is going to be less than -2. So I like to kind of figure out where exactly I'm locating my cuts. And then here's +2. Wow, that's terrible. Okay, so first equation, I'm right between. I'm less than 2 and greater than and equal to -2. So this equation is going to be right directly in the middle. I have plus 0, so I'm starting at 0, my intercept, and I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 over 1, up 1, 2, 3 over 1, and now I'm cutting my graph off, but I have to make sure it's less than, so it's an open circle. And then I'm going to go down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1, and it's going to be closed circle because it is equal to, and there's my line. Okay, next graph. So this one is only greater than or equal to 2, so it's only going to be drawn over here, but we're always starting from the origin. So typically my intercept is 1, and then I'm moving down 1 over 2. And here's where I'm intersecting that cut line, so there's where I get my closed circle. And I'm going to move down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2, and draw my line through those points. And then the last graph, that is going to be 3, which is horizontal, but that is only less than -2. So I'm going to go up to my positive 3, 1, 2, 3, but I can only go less than, so it's going to be open circle, and there's my picture. Okay, so domain, starting off at the left side, going to -infinity, and then I'm going to positive infinity. And wherever my cuts are, there still is a point directly on that line, so it is going to be continuing from -infinity to infinity. The range. So this is going to be going down forever and ever and ever. So I am starting from -infinity. Okay, and then this graph stops here, this graph stops here, and this graph stops here. So I do have a cutoff point on my y, and that's it where this blue line is. So I'm stopping up at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it's an open circle, so I have parentheses. Okay, and then intercepts on the x-axis, I'm hitting at 2 points at 0, 0, and at 2, 0. On the y-intercepts, where am I hitting my y-axis? 0, 0 for sure, since it went through x, but nowhere else. All right, I'm going to save this and then start new.